In the last session, we started the RDS topic, right? And also we created a database instance, right? So give me a second. So yesterday we created one database instance, which is the RDS. And the name of the database instance is, I think, my first DB instance, right? This is the database instance name we have given. And inside that, we have chosen the MySQL database engine. And the actual database name is MyDevDB, right? So approximately this database was created at, I can say 7:20 p.m. on 10th November 2025, right? And then we added some records, right? We added some data at 7:32 p.m. How many entries we uploaded? We uploaded approximately 4 records. We created 4 records at 7:32 p.m. 10th November 2025. And also, we learned that whenever a database instance got created, an initial backup will be created. Initial backup created the moment once the database got created. And this contains no data. Contains no data, because whenever you create the database instance, we haven't uploaded any data. So it contains no data. But what it contains, it has the database name, right? Configuration of the database, like username, password, all the basic information. I mean, whatever is available on the database at the time of database creation, that information is available in that initial backup. In that initial backup. And also, we configured to create an automated snapshots, right? Configured an automated backup or a snapshot. You can say anything. Automated backup, we configured like every day at 6:30 a.m., right? Which means for this database instance, this is the default backup, right? Initial backup. I can say this is the backup 1. And here, backup created. Backup created at what time? Today morning at 6:30. Like, what is the date? 11 November 2025 at 6:30 a.m. A backup was created. What does that mean? This backup contains the 4 records of data. This backup contains 4 records of data. Why? At the time of backup creation, that database contains 4 records. So obviously, whatever is available in that database will be automatically included into the backup. And what is the time of the backup? 6:30 a.m. today. So first, let us verify that. Let's observe whether the backup was created or not. And then we can move on with the recovery process. Like, what if uh, some data got deleted accidentally also, and all the things. So this is our AWS account. We do a quick refresh. So where is the RDS? Yeah, here is the RDS. I mean, let me navigate to the RDS service. And on the left side, let me click on snapshots. Click on system. You can see there are 4 snapshots available. Out of those, the first 2 snapshots belongs to my first DB instance, right? And if you see out of these two, the one was created at the time of database creation. The other one was created today morning at 6:30 a.m. Means the backup process started at 6:30 a.m. and it ends at 6:44 a.m. Right? Okay. This backup contains 4 records of data. And what if accidentally we deleted some data? That data can be recovered using these backups. So first thing, how a user can access this particular database, they need to use a MySQL client tool, right? MySQL client, which is SQL Yog tool, community edition. SQL Yog community edition. There is a tool which is open source by using which they can access. And here we must allow 3306 traffic because the MySQL database will run on 3306 port. Now, what I do is let me open the SQL Yog, and yesterday, if you remember, we saved the credentials, right? So here it is. Let me click on connect. And we can see whatever the data is available. Now it seems we will get an error. Now you guys need to understand like what might be the issue and how to troubleshoot. I know why I'm getting this error, why I'm unable to log in. So after some time, it will try multiple times and it will display an error. What might be the reason? It is not saying the password, username and password is wrong, right? So if you are confident that the username and password are correct, the immediate thing what you have to check is the security group of the database instance. Yesterday, at the time of creation, we selected the MySQL port, but we haven't selected source and all the things, right? So by default, what Amazon will do for the default security group for the RDS, it will allow the traffic from my IP address. Means at the time of creation, whatever the IP address I am using, from that IP, the traffic will be allowed. Unfortunately, whatever the internet service provider I am using, not only for me, for every broadband connections for home, the public IP will get changed frequently, like every day or so. So whatever the IP address yesterday I used, that got changed by today. That's why the RDS is not allowing my traffic, because I have seen this many times. That's why easily I can identify. But for you guys, first thing you have to check is username and password, and then you have to check the security group. Where you can see the security group, just go to the EC2 service in a new tab. Let me navigate to the security group section, where you can see the list of all security groups. Where is the MySQL? This is the one, right? Let me click on the security group ID, and you can see 3306 port is allowed. But from where? From this particular IP address. Let me check what is my IP address. There might be a different reason. Yesterday I have used one internet connection and today I'm using a different internet connection. Definitely I will get a different IP address. Okay, let me check what is my IP address. So it is checking. This is my IP version 6. What is the IP? 152 dot something. But here traffic is allowed from 106 something. Let me edit. Let me change this to anywhere so that the database can be accessible from anywhere. Now let us try again. Click on connect. Did I save? Yeah. See here. This is the database, right? And table, let me not create tables. This is the table. Right click, open table, and we can see all the data. This is how you can access the RDS using the MySQL client. Okay. Now we are talking about the snapshot or a backup. Both are same. What is a snapshot? Snapshot is the process of image level backup of the database instance. Whatever exists in the database can be included into the snapshots. And there are two types of snapshots available. One is automated, and the second one is a manual. What is the meaning of automated snapshot? Automated snapshots will be created at a scheduled interval of time. Example like every day at 6:30 a.m. IST. Manual snapshot is the process of creating a snapshot whenever is required. Generally, what is the use case of the manual snapshot is we create a manual snapshot. We create a manual snapshot before any changes to the database, like executing some queries manually or deploying some updates to the database. So to be on safer side, sometimes the developers or someone might give you some scripts to execute on the database to improve the performance or whatever, right? But sometimes it might get some issues. To avoid that, we'll create a backup and then we will run all everything whatever we need. If something went wrong, we can revert those changes using the snapshots. So by using the snapshots, any snapshot, we can recover the data which was accidentally deleted or lost. Okay, right. So here, just a note point. So 4 records of data were created into the database on 10 November 2025 at 7:32 p.m. Just please focus. It is the easiest topic, but if you can't understand the concept, it is the more confusing part, especially the times and all, 7:32 p.m. And an automated snapshot was created at 11 November 2025 at 6:30 a.m. IST, which means snapshot contains 4 records of a data. Now let us verify the recovery process, how to recover and all the things. So first thing I will say simulate data loss on the database instance. How? Delete 2 records manually. Just delete the data. That is like how we lost. Assume or consider that you accidentally deleted the data. Then recover the deleted data using the automated snapshot created at 6:30 a.m. IST. And also, whenever you're doing these kind of practical, just note down the time. Delete 2 records manually. I will say at timing 6:51 p.m. Right? So we need one backup which was exist or which was created before this 6:51 p.m. Right? Okay. How to delete? Connect to the database. Let me choose the 2 records. I'm not using any SQL queries to delete. Delete star from or uh, delete something star from so and so table where name is equal to. I'm not writing any queries. I'm not the database admin, right? So manually selected using this tool. Click on this recycle bin icon. Yes. Now the data is getting deleted from the database. At what time? 6:51. If you want to check, here you can check refresh, this one, Alt F5, so that it will fetch the data from the database. And how many entries exist? Only 2 entries. Means I lost data at 6:51 p.m. How to recover? Here, the most important thing is you cannot recover the data into existing database instance. The data can be recovered into a new database instance, but the database name is going to be the same, username, password, everything is going to be the same. Like recovering the data into your laptop instead of my laptop. That is a simple concept. Okay. Right. So how to recover? Just go to your RDS, go click on snapshots and select the snapshot which you would like to use to recover the data. This is the one, right? So you can see the time. Then actions. There is one option called restore a snapshot. There is one option called restore a snapshot. Click on that restore snapshot. So here it is asking you to choose a database engine. What do you think? While I restore, can I change the database engine from MySQL to Oracle? Any guess? Any guess? Can I change the database engine? A simple logic. Let us say I have downloaded one software for my Windows laptop. Can I install that software in Linux machine? No, right? The same way, if the backup is from MySQL database engine, you can't restore that into a different database engine. See here, there is no option to choose a different database engine. Okay. And you can change the deployment options while you are restoring. So here, let me write down a note point first. Database and the data will be recovered into a new database instance instead of the current data or instead of the existing database instance. You can say existing database instance is server 1. The database is MyDevDB. The same database MyDevDB will be restored and recovered into a new database instance called server 2. Okay. So here, just the database instance name is getting changed and all other are same. And while restoring the database from the snapshot, we can change the following if required. If you want, you can change what all those deployment option you can change, like a single AG, multi-AG, irrespective of the old database instance. The snapshot was created from a single AG deployed database instance, right? But using that snapshot, you can recover or restore the database into a multi-AG like this. You can select choose like this. But I don't want to go with those options. I will keep single AG. Database instance identifier. What I do is restored database. Just a name, not the database name. It is the identifier of the database instance, which means on this particular instance, the database is getting created and running. Database instance identifier, which is nothing but the name of the database instance, not the database, right? Restored database, okay. Then you can change the instance class if requires. DB instance class, like a T3 dot small T3.large, etc. You can upsize or you can downsize the capacity of the database if required. That's not a mandatory thing, but I'm not changing. You can increase the storage, but you can't reduce it. Storage can be increased. You can't reduce the size of the storage. See, I said 22. And you can change the network connectivity also. You can change the VPC. You can change whether it is going to be public access or not. Change the security group, but we will never change that. You can change availability zone. Publicly accessible or not. You can change this also. But you can't change the database name. I will show you that also. Database authentication, yes. And see, additional configuration. There is no option to change the database name from MyDevDB to something else. There is no option, right? Just click on restore DB instance. And just you have to, we cannot change the database name, username, and password while restoring from the snapshot because they will be preserved. Okay, right. So here you can see creating. Once it got created, what we have to do is just connect to the database instance which was restored and observe the data got recovered or not. And the most important thing, newly restored DB instance gets a new database identifier, which means if you install the if you what we call it, if you're running the database on my laptop, IP address is different. If that got restored into your laptop, definitely the database will get a new IP address, right? The same way it will get a new database identifier. Now connect to the restored DB instance and verify that it has all the four records of data in MyDevDB. Here use new endpoint for the new endpoint of the restored DB. Okay, let us see, but it will take some time. Again, it will take 5 minutes of time. Okay, so now what we do is while it is getting created, we will go with the deletion of an existing database instance. Let us deal with a deletion of an existing database instance. Or let us do one more thing. Let us create a manual snapshot. Let us see how to create a manual snapshot. So what we have done now, from this is the backup, right? From this backup, we created a new database instance. And what is the name? We have given the name as restored DB instance, right? Database engine and the database name both are same. also the username and the password. They are also same. So now what we do is, let us create a manual snapshot. Let us create a manual snapshot, like the to know the process, like how to create the manual snapshot and all the things. At what time we are going to create? At 05 p.m. It contains two records only. It contains two records only. Why? At the time of creating the manual snapshot, the database has just two records. Let us go with that. Okay. Okay. Before getting into the manual snapshot, are you guys clear or any questions? So everyone is clear with the automated snapshot and how to recover? Okay. So now let us see the process of manual snapshot creation of the RDS. So how to do that is, just select the database from which you would like to create the snapshot, actions, and here you can see one option called take a snapshot. Click on the take snapshot and snapshot type. Choose DB instance, database from which database we are taking the snapshot is the one. I will say manual snapshot. Just for my understanding purpose, I will say two records, means it contains two records, and click on take snapshot. This is how we will create a manual snapshot. Again, it will take some time and you can observe the progress here. Where we can identify all these, just in the RDS, go to snapshots. In the system, you can see the automated snapshots. In the manual, you can see the manual snapshots. See here, this is the manual snapshot. Let it create. Then I will show you something else. Because we should know the cleanup and all, right? So, and if I restore the database from this, the process is going to be the same. And again, it contains the same database engine. It contains the same database, MyDevDB, and it contains two records. Why two records? It has a it will get four records of data. We will verify that. No need to worry. It contains only two records. Why? Whatever the snapshot we have used, that snapshot contains two records of data. Why? At the time of that manual snapshot, the database contains two records. The same will be included into the snapshot and the same will be recovered into the database. We'll verify all those things. If you have a question, if you have any doubt about like, is there a different procedure to restore the data, to restore a database from the manual snapshot? Not at all. Select the manual snapshot, actions, and you will get this restore snapshot option once the snapshot is ready. In the meanwhile, let us write down few points. These all are the snapshots, right? If you select any snapshot and if you click on actions, you can see multiple options here, right? You can see multiple options. What are those options? Restore snapshot. We know what is it, restore snapshot, and a copy snapshot. What do you think about the copy snapshot? Or I will go to manual snapshots so that you will get more options in the manual snapshot. See, copy snapshot. What is the use of a copy snapshot? Any guess? Any guess? A wild guess? What might be this copy snapshot? You want me to click on the copy snapshot? New DB snapshot identifier. I will say some name and you can choose a destination region, right? What does that mean? With the help of a copy snapshot, we can copy the snapshots, uh, important points about snapshots. So we can copy snapshots to any region. We can copy snapshots to any region so that we can create or restore the databases in any region using that copied snapshot. Like you can compare with AMI. If you have AMI in Northern Virginia, and if you want to create an EC2 instance using the same AMI, first you have to copy to the destination region, right? The same way you can do it. The same way you can do it. And then see actions, share snapshot. What do you think about the share snapshot? You can share the snapshot with a different AWS account. With a different AWS account, we can share the snapshots. Here, you need to remember, we can share the manual snapshot with any other AWS accounts, but we cannot share the automated snapshots. If you want, you can check. Let me go to the automated. Can you get the share? No, you can't share the automated snapshots. The share option is only for manual snapshots. And migrate snapshot is not available. That is only available for what we call that Aurora kind of a things. It is not supported. Upgrade snapshot. Can you guess what might be this upgrade snapshot is? Any wild guess? Because the migrate snapshot is not highlighted here. So whenever the time comes, I will explain that migrate snapshot also. Can you guess what might be the upgrade snapshot? Any guess? You want me to click here so that you will get some idea? Let us say your MySQL database was a 5.7 version. And if you want to convert that backup, that snapshot for a newer version of MySQL, then that is possible. But this is only available for MySQL and PostgreSQL. That is only available for MySQL and PostgreSQL. It doesn't support Microsoft SQL, Oracle, and all. Okay, by using the upgrade snapshot, you can upgrade the snapshot from the older versions of the MySQL or PostgreSQL to the newer version of MySQL and PostgreSQL. Okay, that is what the upgrade option. Let me write down that also as a point. We can migrate the snapshot from older DB engine version to the latest DB in the sense database engine version. But it is only for MySQL and PostgreSQL databases. Okay. Then what is the export to Amazon S3? What is that export to Amazon S3? Any idea? Any guess? Let me click here. I will say my first DB instance backup, and then to which S3, I mean, you can store the snapshot in, let me choose something. Yeah, this one. Just it requires some role permissions. I will choose a create a new role. Role name, I can say RDS snapshot export to S3 bucket. And here you need to click so that the snapshot will be exported, uploaded to S3 bucket. So here I haven't selected encryption key. Let me, I think I don't have encryption key here. ARN, what we call that? Amazon is having some encryption mechanisms, right? KMS. From there, you need to get the KMS key and you need to enter here so that the backups can be exported and saved into S3. So the snapshots can be exported and saved into S3 buckets also. Does it support for both automated and manual snapshots? Let me show you that is supported. Okay, right. So migrate snapshot is a kind of a copying the snapshots from one region to another region, or between one account to another account and all the things. Okay, right. So then I guess our database might be ready, right? The restore DB. Let us try to connect and verify that all the data got recovered. Let me click on this plus new connection, new restored DB instance, just a name for the connection and a new endpoint. Username, if you see, I am giving the same old username and same old password. Let me click on test connection. Okay, now let me click on connect. Yes. And you can see the restored DB instance tab got highlighted. Means I am seeing the restored DB instance. And here is the database name, MyDevDB, expand, tables expand. Can you see the students info table? Let me right click, open table, and you should see all the 4 records of data. You can see all the 4 records of data. This is how you can recover the data using the snapshots. It can be automated snapshot or it can be a manual snapshot. Now, let us talk about the database instance deletion. Delete the database instance my first DB instance. If you remember, we enabled termination protection, right? Do you guys remember that? At the time of database creation, we enabled termination protection, right? Now let us see how it behaves. Let us see how it behaves. So databases, this is the one. Actions. See, this database has deletion protection option enabled to be able to delete the database, modify the database, and disable deletion protection. Let me delete the second one. And we haven't enabled any deletion protection here. Actions, delete, and you can delete this. Okay, let me show you the delete procedure first. Select the database instance, actions, delete, and first thing it will ask you, would you like to create a final snapshot? Means before deleting the database, it will create one manual snapshot, a final manual snapshot, so that you can use that snapshot in the future to recreate the same database with the same data. But I don't want to create any final snapshot. I will uncheck it. Would you like to retain automated backups? You want to keep the automated backups as is? If you select this checkbox, what do you think? The automated backups will be maintained or retained in your AWS account? That's actually yes, but not 100% true. If I uncheck this checkbox, along with the database, automated backups will be deleted. If I select this checkbox, I will show you that. If I select this checkbox and if I type and if I delete the database, what happens? Automated backups will be retained in your AWS account, but not forever. The automated backups will be retained for the retention period, which is 2 days. I mean, for this database, we selected 2 days. For the other database, I think we selected 3 days or 7 days. You select the retain automated backups. Automated backups will be retained for the retention period, and then the database snapshots will be deleted. Here we need to type a delete space me and then click on delete and the database will be deleted. And for this, termination protection enabled. So first what we have to do, first thing, disable termination protection first, and then delete the database instance. So whenever you delete any database instances, automated snapshots will be deleted automatically after a retention period or instantly based on the options selected. But finally, automated snapshots will be deleted automatically instantly or after few days. There is no doubt. But manual snapshots will be retained forever and forever, which means we must delete them manually. Simple logic. Even if the manual snapshots will be automatically deleted, then there is no use of creating a final snapshot, right? The final snapshot is a kind of a manual snapshot. If all the manual snapshots will be deleted, if the manual snapshots will be deleted automatically, no use of creating a manual snapshots. Means manual snapshots we must delete manually. They won't be automatically cleared. What is the problem if you don't delete? It will consume some space on the storage, and Amazon will charge you for utilizing the storage to store your snapshots. Okay, that we will observe at the time of deleting this one. Okay, so first we need to disable termination protection. How to disable? How to disable is select the database instance which you would like to delete. Click on modify. Click on modify. Don't change anything. Just scroll down to the bottom. Enable deletion protection, right? Uncheck that. Continue. Now, if you see schedule modifications, current value is enabled and new value is going to be the disabled. So whenever you're doing the practicals, don't blindly follow the steps like next things. Just try to read at least once. So what will happen if I click on modify DB instance? Whatever the changes I'm going to configure, those changes will be applied during the next scheduled maintenance window. If you recollect, at the time of creating the database instance, what we have done, we selected a maintenance window, right? Like Sunday between 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. What we call that, UTC or something. I do remember it's a Sunday. Let me check what is the 16th Sunday. So these changes will be applied during that maintenance window. I have to wait until these changes apply to delete the database, or else apply immediately. Apply immediately. So select that, modify DB instance, and the changes will be applied instantly. Don't think the changes were applied already. Just refresh, and you can see the status is going to be modifying, and then it will come back to available. Seems it got stuck. Let me refresh the page. It's available. Select the database, actions, delete. I don't want to create any final snapshot. I don't want to retain any automated backups. See here. I acknowledge that upon instance deletion, automated backups, including system snapshots and point in time recovery. We haven't discussed about point in time recovery yet. We'll discuss that. Point in time recovery will no longer be available. Now, let me type delete me and everything will be deleted except the manual snapshots. That we will observe. Okay, that we will observe. And if you go to snapshots, here you can see the manual snapshot. And if you see system, you can see these two will be automatically deleted instantly. And these two will be deleted after the retention period of 2 days. If you remind me, after 2 days or 3 days, we will come back and we will check these two snapshots got automatically deleted. Okay, we will check that also. Okay, now while it is getting deleted, it will take definitely some time. Now I want to discuss about a simple issue. Okay, at what time this database was created, the restored DB? Let me check the time. This is the database, right? At what time this database was created? I guess it was created at 7. Let me cross check. The only way here is I will go to snapshot system. This is the one. The database was created at 7:1, right? I would like to show you some challenge with the snapshots concept, what we covered as of now. So here we created one database instance. Forget about whether it is created from the restore DB instance or whatever. We don't care about that. Okay. And what is the database instance name? Restore DB instance. And it is MySQL. And the database name is MyDevDB. And it was created at 7:1 p.m. Right? And how many records available here? It contains four records. It contains four records of data. And there is one automated snapshot at 7:04 p.m. Right? And this contains how many records? No data. Why is it? Sorry. At the time of database creation itself, it has some data, right? It contains four records. Four records by 7:04 p.m. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create three more records at 7:27 p.m. Okay. So total how many records by this time? 4 plus 3, 7 records of a data. Okay, let me create fifth, name 4, 6, name 5, 7, name what happened? Okay, that's okay. Name 7. Okay, I saved it. So now the database contains 7 records. At what time? At 7:26 only, right? By 7:26, it contains 7 records of data. Now, what if data lost at 7:28 p.m.? How to recover? Accidentally, the data was deleted or accidentally deleted at 7:28 p.m. How to recover the data? So here we have a backup, right? But after the backup creation, there were some changes to the data. Means that backup doesn't contain about the changes which were happened after 7:04 p.m. Is that true? Is that true or not? So how to recover? If I use that automated snapshot, whatever the changes made on the database after 7:04 p.m. will be lost. So here, let me write down a point. Whatever the changes made to the database after the latest backup or snapshot cannot be recovered using the snapshot recovery process, because it can be automated or manual. That doesn't matter. They are not aware of the changes happened after the snapshot creation. For this, to overcome this challenge, we have a process called point in a time or recovery, which is also known as PIT recovery. What does that mean? Point in a time or recovery. What does that mean? PIT recovery allows you to recover the database to any specific point in a time. Example, latest automated backup was created at 7:01 p.m. and you can recover the database, or you can say you can restore the database to 7:27 p.m. Why or how? How a point in time recovery works is it tracks it tracks all the changes happened since the last full backup. Any specific time, usually like you can't go beyond the 35 days return. Yeah, I mean, you can't go beyond the retention period. That's for sure. So how is they will create transaction logs. They use something called transactional logs. So this uses automated daily snapshots and transactional logs continuously captured by RDS. What is a transactional log? Whenever there is a transaction happened on the database, that will be recorded in the log. If you are a database administrator, you are going to use the transactional logs backup, like kind of an incremental backup, you can say. Incremental backup. It changes between the full backup and now. Changes between the previous backup and now. That is what the transactional logs. With the help of these automated daily snapshots, on top of that, transactional logs, they will allow you to restore your database to any point of time. That's the advantage of this point in time recovery. I will say how this point in time recovery works. Whatever I explained, the same thing. Let me write down few points. RDS automatically backs up your daily database and stores logs continuously in S3, but you can't see that directly. That is managed by AWS. Whenever you request a recovery using PIT recovery, what it does, RDS restores the last full snapshot before your target recovery time. Let us say if I said 7:27 p.m. is my target, 7:28 p.m. is my target, right? But I don't have any backup at 7:28. What was the latest full snapshot? 7:01 p.m. That will be restored. On top of that, I can say then replace all transactional logs, up to the exact second what we specify. 7 hours, 26 p.m., 36 seconds, 20 milliseconds. That is possible. Okay. But anyways, 7 records were created 7:26 and data lost at not 7:28. Now it's a 7:33, right? Let me delete the data at 7:34 p.m. because we need to verify, right? Now create 4 records of data to the existing database and make that the database contains 7 records in total at 7:26 p.m., right? And make that database contain 7 records in total. So just a note point here. Database latest snapshot, latest automated snapshot was created at 7:04 p.m., which contains 4 records. Then data, I mean, 3 more records were created at 7:26 p.m. Right? So database at this point, database has 7 records, but the latest automated snapshot has 4 records of data only, right? Okay. Now then delete any 3 records from the database at 7:36 p.m. Okay, let me delete at 7:36 p.m. Then what we do? Restore the data using PIT recovery by selecting the target time as 11 November 2025, just 1 minute before the data loss at 7:35 p.m. IST. Just 1 minute before the data loss. We can't say like 10 minutes or 20 minutes before, so that we will lose this 20 minutes data. Whenever the data gets lost, just we will go like less than 1 minute before that particular data loss time. Okay, now it's 7:36, right? Okay, now let me delete the data. 1, 4, 7. Total selected 3 records. Click on delete. Yes. And just let me refresh so that it will fetch a fresh copy of data from the database and there is no data, right? Okay. Now let us see how to recover. First important thing, by default, the point in time recovery is enabled. Let us verify. My question is, does the point in time recovery enabled by default? Yes, by default, it is enabled. If you enable automated snapshots, point in time recovery is enabled. No need to enable it manually. Select the database, go to actions. There is one option called restore to point in time. Click on that restore to point in time. This is the latest restorable time. I don't want to use that latest restorable time. Always, it is recommended to choose custom date and time. 11th November 2025, time 7 p.m., which means 19 35, right? Okay, let me scroll down. And date again, you have it is a kind of a recovery, right? Again, the data will be recovered into a new database instance. So here I can say PIT recovery as the database instance identifier. Publicly accessible, yes. Security group MySQL. No need to change anything. Just if you want, just you can enable the logs. That's the important thing, logs. Restore to point in time, and the database is getting restored into a new database instance. Then what we have to do, connect to the restored database instance, which is PIT recovery, and observe it has all 7 records, which means the data got recovered. Again, whenever a new database instance got created, endpoint will be generated, but the database name is going to be same, and what we call that the username, password, everything are going to be the same. Again, it will take some time. And the first my first DB instance got deleted, right? If I go to snapshots, if I go to system, can you see the automated snapshots of my first DB instance? No, they were automatically deleted. But in the manual, you can see the manual snapshot, which was created from the my first DB instance, it still exists even after the database instance got deleted. So you have to manually delete these manual snapshots, or else they will consume some storage space and you are eligible for charges once you exceed the free tier limit. How to clean up? Select the manual snapshot, actions, delete, delete. That's simple. Okay, right. So just we'll wait for like a few more minutes to complete the process of this particular database instance, and we'll verify whether the data has been recovered or not, right? And then we will close the session because I don't want to stop in the middle of particular concept. If we complete this PIT recovery, then we can start a replica concept in the tomorrow session. Replication, replica, what is the use of replica? Everything we will cover in the tomorrow session. Okay, so before, while we are waiting for the database is getting created, are you guys clear with the snapshots concept, automated, manual, and PIT recovery, or any questions? Anyone having any questions? Okay, let me refresh. And again, don't keep the databases running once you're done with your practical. Okay, just clean it up. If you want, you can, what we call that, you can recreate whenever you need. And one more thing, you cannot stop the database forever. EC2 instances, you can stop it, right? EC2 instances, you can stop it and you can start after 1 week, 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. Nothing will happen. But coming to the RDS instances, you can't stop forever. You can stop, but the stop is going to be a temporary stop. Let me show you. See here, this is the one, actions, stop temporarily. You can't see an option called stop. What does that mean by stop temporarily? Does your stop database instance will be automatically started? Yes, that's correct. See here. I acknowledge that the stopping the database instance only pauses billing for instance hours. That's okay, that's we know. The DB instance restarts automatically on November 18th, 2025, which means you can stop the RDS database instance up to 7 days only. You can't keep that in the stopped state for more than 7 days. What if you have a requirement that you don't use this database for 1 more month, but after 1 month you might need this database and you don't want to pay this entire 1 month for not using? Simple thing, create one snapshot, manual snapshot, then delete the database. Whenever you need the database instance, you can restore using that final snapshots. Okay, right. Any questions? Still, it is getting created. The moment once it got created, it will generate the endpoint. Okay, while it is getting created, what if I forget the password of the database instance? I know the username is Krishna and password I know, right? But what if I forget the password? Can we reset? Can we reset the password? Yes, you can. How to reset? Again, same procedure. Here we have a database, right? Just select the database instance, click on modify. Then you will see an option called a master password. Just assign a new password here. Assign a new password. Scroll down and continue. Apply immediately. Modify DB instance. A new password will be applied on that particular DB instance. I mean, okay, here is the question. Less than 7 days, can we pause? Yes, you can pause. Here there is no need to choose how many days you want to pause. If you stop, that will be in a stopped state. If you don't start, automatically on the 8th day, automatically it will be started. That is the point. Automatically it will be started on 8th day. If you want to start on 3rd day, manually start it. Okay, let me connect to this database, almost created, the recovered PIT recovery. So let me connect, new PIT recovery. Okay, the name, just database instance name, endpoint, username, password. And let me click on connect. Okay, yes. Here MyDevDB, tables, students info, open table, and can you see all the 7 records? This is the advantage of PIT recovery. That is what the point in time recovery is. The most important one, most useful option in RTS. Okay, right. Any questions? I will keep that PIT recovery database running, which has 7 records, which we will use the same database instance. We will use the tomorrow session for a replica concept. Okay, right. Any questions, guys? Okay, then if you guys are clear, let us stop the session here. and let us continue tomorrow with the same RDS concept, but we will deal with replicas. Tomorrow, replica. Day after tomorrow, we will go with multi-AZ. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we will go with Aurora also. But not required, but we will go one day with Aurora, because to deal with multi-AZ DB cluster, we must use Aurora DB engine. Again, in the Aurora also, we have to use MySQL or PostgreSQL only. Okay, just to see that multi-AZ DB cluster, we will go with Aurora also, because that multi-AZ DB cluster deployment is not supported for all database engines. That is only for Aurora as of now. Might be in the future they might introduce for the other database engines also. Okay, right. Thank you everyone. We'll continue tomorrow.